Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a flip through of my commonplace. I'm going to complete March's entries because I've continued to work in it in April, and I thought that would be a kind of good way to break up the videos by month. So this is my commonplace book. I made this book myself out of just craft paper and then copy paper that I printed a graph on. And I love my sticker on the front. It's a Pablo Picasso. My commonplace book is a place to write about art, science, history, anything that interests me, or maybe something that concerns me that I want to look into. And stuff that I wouldn't necessarily want to write in my daily journal. Like I like having them separate, so I can begin flipping through. I just put this sticker on the inside cover of Van Gogh, and then I have this commonplace picture of kind of like what commonplacing is. And in my last commonplace flip through, we went over my penguins entry and McCurry Island, Pablo Picasso. I like this page a lot. And then an article that I read on Forbes about AI taking over the workplace. I want to do another entry about AI, but I have other interests kind of like in the back of my mind that I want to write about first. I also thought that my commonplace book could be a place to put inspiration that I feel doesn't fit in my daily journal. Sometimes, like I feel like there are certain interests that fit in my everyday journal and some that don't, or maybe stuff that I want to reference back to, I would put in this book. So I love these two rooms, and I'm very inspired by the colors and the bookshelf in this one specifically. In this one, I love the blue rug. Like, blue is my favorite color, and I love the accents of blue. Of course, the blanket, the Pelton blanket that costs so much. And these quilts here, I love them. Like, I just think that this room looks so cozy with the books back here and the art. So this is like inspiration for our future house. And because I feel like next time we move, I want to add more accents of blue and red. And then this bookcase, I love it. And it's not even like an expensive bookcase. This is from IKEA, and they're like not bookcases. Like, that's not how they're labeled, I don't think. I just love the wood. This lamp that's attached to the bookcase is so cool. Like, this setup is like, it's perfect. Maybe there's a little bit too much going on the wall. I would have a little bit less up here, but everything else is so perfect. I love the couch. So this is inspiration for my next living room, because in my next living room, I would like to have bookcases along one wall. Like, that's my goal. Like, when we look for houses next time, I would like to have this in mind, that I want big bookcases in the living room, maybe behind the couch. So this is inspiration that I would like to reference back to, because I love it. It's so cozy. And like the thing that I want my house to feel, or I feel like the main goal for anywhere that we've lived, is that it feels cozy. That's like the main goal. Then I wrote about, now I hope I say his name right, Sho Shibuya, and I probably said it wrong. But this is a contemporary artist that I've known about for a little while and absolutely love his work and love his like the reason that he creates this art, and it just looks so cool. Like, this is my style of art. Like, I wish that I thought of this. This is so cool. So Sho Shibuya is still alive. He's a Japanese artist based in Brooklyn, and he paints sunsets on the New York Times. And he started this as a meditation. And I don't know how he got discovered. I think he was already an artist. But I don't know how this blew up exactly. But he just used acrylic to paint the sun that was coming through his window. And, you know, every painting, the sun can look different from day to day, and every painting has like a different color scheme or different, you know, different look about it, which is so beautiful. So he started this as a meditation practice during the pandemic. It was born out of restlessness, out of seeing the stacks of New York Times in his house. He said that he would look at these New York Times, like the papers, as they stacked up, and he kind of saw this as like, this is my days, like stacking up. Like, I can see my days right there. And he wanted to do something with them. He wanted to like not just see these papers as like a compression of his time. And he decided to make something beautiful out of them, because it seemed like it was kind of stressing him out, just seeing like, look, there's like a week right there that passed by and it's just stacking up. But yeah, I love his work. And they are, of course, very expensive. And I would like a print of one of his works. And of course, you know, expensive for a reason. This is genius. Like, this is so cool. And he just paints a ton of them. Oh, I thought I had another picture. I don't. Of like him in an art gallery, just with these everywhere, because he paints them daily. But absolutely love them. I would love just a pure red one. That would be so cool. And I just like, such a cool idea. Like, he chooses to kind of ignore the news that is on these pages and cover it with something beautiful. It was a way of him creating something beautiful out of something he couldn't control, like what's going on in the news. And, you know, during this time when he couldn't be outside as much as he liked, and there was a lot of fear. And so he's like, you know, I'm going to take this and make something out of it. And I love that. That is so cool. I love when artists create something out of like something else. Like when artists make things out of like trash, or I mean, not that the New York Times is trash, but it's something that you wouldn't necessarily paint on, and he turned it into art. I love that. So it was really fun to learn about this artist. Then I wrote about an artist who has become one of my favorite artists of all time. I love her art. This is Sophia Tebur Arp. I cannot say her middle name. She is a Swiss artist. She's a painter, a sculptor, a textile designer. She designed furniture. She was a dancer. She was an architect. Like, this woman did everything and did it so well. Like, she is amazing. She is not a very well-known artist, or not a very, she's kind of overlooked in like art history. She had an unexpected death very young, and she's not really well known, but she's a very important artist for abstraction, like that was going on in the 20th century. I mean, look at her art. I found one of her artworks a long time ago, this one, and I recreated it and couldn't figure out who the artist was. I just knew like, this is This is me, like squares, colorful squares on a canvas. This is my kind of art. And I love it. And it's one of my favorite paintings I have in my house that I recreated. And just last year, I was able to find out who the artist was. And I've recreated like 5 of her paintings. She used gouache on paper. She worked with beads. She worked with color pencils. She created sculptures. This is kind of like a timeline of her work. She did so many other things, but she kind of like started in textiles, like beads and sewing textiles that were abstract. And then she moved on to oil on canvas, where she had her more like circle, geometric art, these squares. I also recreated this one, and I actually recreated this one the day I went into labor, the day I went to the hospital. She created puppets, little matinee puppets like Pinocchio with her husband, because he was also an artist. And these are so cool. Not only was she creating abstract art in a time when, like, she kind of, like, not everyone was creating abstract art at this time, but she was also creating puppets that were different to the puppets being made at that time. She made them not human-like. I'm saying that so poorly. She made them look very strange, not trying to make them look like people. And that was very different to this time period. And this one is actually more of the more normal looking ones. This one's just my favorite. There were some that were way more unique looking. Then she created circles and squares on canvas. She has so much artwork that she created. This was before World War II. So she also lived through a very difficult time. During World War II, she was in Paris, I think. Oh, I think she was in Paris during World War II. I believe, I could be wrong. But during this time, she didn't have enough money to buy expensive materials like oil paints, so she created with color pencil. And like they didn't have enough money for food, and letters were found by this artist that like she waited in line for some food for hours and then went home and like created 3 artworks. Like she was still creating artwork during Nazi occupation in Paris, and when like life was really hard, she was still creating, and she just created different art. And she used color pencils on paper because that's what she could afford. And I remember finding an artwork by her. It was similar to this one, but it wasn't this one. And I remember thinking, like, I don't like this style that she created. Like, I wondered why she went from like my favorite art style to this kind of, it wasn't my favorite. So that made me value this period of her art so much more, because she didn't let her circumstances prevent her from doing what she loved. She just altered it. And then her final works before her unexpected death were these still abstract art, but there were a lot more that were like black and white as opposed to her very colorful paintings. And the subject was like bigger instead of a bunch of small squares. I hope I'm describing it right. They all looked very similar to this one. I just chose the one that was my favorite because it had some color in it, but there were a lot that were like black and white. Very beautiful, but she, her like career was unfinished because she died of carbon monoxide poisoning. It was an accident. And she's just amazing. And this is This is one of the artworks that she created during World War II with color pencil, and it's now one of my favorites. I love this. I want a print of this artwork. She created huge installations like this one, where like there's a artwork on the ceiling. She created furniture that I have seen before. I've seen like this style of furniture, and I didn't know that it was her design. I didn't put any in here, I don't think. No, but how cool that she literally made everything. Her artwork makes me incredibly happy. Like I said, I've recreated both of these and 3 others, and they bring me so much joy. I have one in like each room of my house. And researching this woman just made me respect her art and respect her process. And yeah, I just really enjoyed learning more about her, because prior to this, I just knew I liked this painting, and then I learned it was this woman who painted it, and then I found out all these other things that she's created. So that was a really important entry to me. I wanted to like give her credit for being such an influential art inspiration in my life. I recreated a lot of these paintings while I was pregnant, and they were just the most calming thing to do. Like I have such good like memories of painting these paintings throughout my pregnancy. Yeah, I would, if you like her art, like look her up. She has so much art. This is just a few of her paintings. She did so much. And I love this page. I have another inspiration page. This one is probably unattainable though. I don't know the designer behind this bookshelf, this bookcase, but it is so cool. Like I want to make this bookcase so bad, and just don't know how I would do it. But it's like a metal cage, and books are just like shoved in there, but they can face different ways. Like they can lay flat, they can stand like a normal bookshelf, they can also like lean against the front of the cage. It is the coolest thing, like the coziest looking bookcase ever. And I don't know where this is. I just found these pictures on Pinterest. I would actually be curious now that I'm looking at them to know where exactly this is. But I just think this bookcase is so cool. And some genius thought of this design, and I want to make it. I probably would never be able to, but I thought it was so cool, and I wanted to keep this inspiration in here. It's just so cozy. My next entries are April entries, so I'm gonna wait to talk about those, but I've been researching lots of things and really enjoying it. So I wanted to just talk about the rest of my entries for March. So I hope you enjoyed this flip through though. I'm gonna continue to work in this in April and then do an April flip through. I also thought I could do a quick flip through of my reading journal just to kind of catch you up on here. This is an A5 PVC ring binder that actually needs to be wiped a little bit, I'm noticing. The first entries in here are week's entries from last year. Eventually I'm going to get another PVC binder and transfer these pages in there. That way this is only for my reading journal. Here we go. This is the start of my 2026 reading notebook. I have currently read 47 books this year, which is so awesome. I'm 18 books ahead of schedule. And that number just keeps growing. I did not expect that to happen at all. But I still haven't entered everything for April. This is January, February, and March, but it's looking so beautiful. I'm thinking I'm going to surpass my 100 book goal, and then they won't all fit on one page. But I put all the books in here. I think I need to start picking more books off my 2026 list, because we're a quarter of the way into the year and I have not read that many, and so I need to get on this. I have that in mind for my next TBR video when I pick out my books, that I'm gonna try to prioritize some that are on my 26 for 2026 TBR. I still have not filled out my A to Z challenge. Maybe mid-year, that would be a good time to do that. And I have not bought any books, so I have not bought a single book, so nothing goes here yet. I was able to check off quite a few on my series tracker. I'm so excited for the Ballad of Fallen Dragons to come out, the second book in the When the Moon Hatched series. And just yesterday I was thinking, like, am I gonna reread When the Moon Hatched? Because if I'm going to do that, it needs to be really soon, because this comes out next month, which is very exciting. My favorite books for each month. I haven't even thought of that for this month. Ooh, that's gonna be tough. Bless you. This is what I added to my reading journal that I've wanted to have. Like, it was my plan for this year to have this, and just recently made it happen. Initially, I wanted to do TBR pages, like, see if I can find one. Like this, but I did not really enjoy this. I liked the idea of this, but so what I did is I put the books that I was going to read that month, and then my stats at the bottom. But what I didn't like is if I DNF'd a book, which I did do this month. Actually, I DNF'd like 2 of these. Then I don't like that they're on this page permanently because I didn't read them. So then I thought about having a page like this, which I love. I love my October Reads page, where I rate all the books after the fact. That way I don't have any pictures of books on here that I did not read. However, I have my reading notebook for that. All the information regarding my reading is in here. The rating, the dates, a summary of what the book was about, my opinion on the book, like, everything's in here. So I don't want to repeat that information. But what I did want was a page to see which books I read each month, because I have my spread that shows how, like, all the books that I've read throughout the year, but they're not divided by month. So, which is fine. That's not what I wanted for this page. So what I did is I created a spread for each month. Super simple, no ratings, no writing, no reviews, just the photos. And then I put a photo of my thumbnail for the video where I picked out these books. So if my TBR thumbnail goes with the books that I completed that month. And I love this, it's so sparkly. I like seeing which books I read that month, because I couldn't remember when I read Circe. And now I know I read it in January, and I think about this book a lot. And then I also created a spread for February, which, as you can see, was a very heavy reading month. I read so many books. This was such a great month. And then for March, this is my least favorite of the 3 spreads because I don't like this, but I didn't put March on my thumbnail, so. But read really good books this month too. So this just looks so like scrapbooky and fun. And I like that I kept it very simple because like I created all 3 of these spreads in a day, like during one of her naps. It's not something that I know I have to like set hours aside to do because if that's the case, then I just won't do it. Like the time, like where I spend a good chunk of time in a scrapbook is her scrapbook. When I take out her scrapbook binder, I know it's like, I'm gonna spend time doing that. In here, I just want to do it quickly and have it look cute. And that's what I feel I accomplished in here. And I'm really excited to put April reads in this book too. And I'm hoping for more months when I read 16 books a month, but it's not this month. This month I'm shooting for 12. Yeah, I think, how did I read 16 books? Some people read like 30 a month. Some people read a book a day. That's awesome and crazy and not achievable for me. At least not right now. Maybe one day I'll be up to a book a day. But I wanted to just flip through my reading journal because I love flipping through it. I'm so like proud of it. And yeah, I do want these pages out of here. I just, you know, they fit. I don't necessarily need a new binder right now. But it would be kind of nice if my cover were here. But I kind of do like seeing the pumpkins. But yeah, that's my update on my reading journal and update in my commonplace. But I'm so excited to show my April commonplacing because I'm learning so much. I feel like there's going to be a lot of history in next month's flip through. I'm learning a lot and I'm having a really good time. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed my flip through. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.